You're listening to Good Takes and Rookie Mistakes. I'm your host, Jackson James, and in today's episode, I'm joined by Monica Nieto as we discuss all of the childhood lies we were told growing up and how we kind of figured out that that was not the case. So enjoy. So to play off the name of the show,
Right. Yeah.
Rookie Mistakes. I think growing up, you're very naive to what you perceive as fact or fiction.
Yes.
Right. So I was thinking about this earlier, and I was like, what are some things that as kids, aka rookies,
Right.
that like we kind of look back on and was like, how are we that dumb?
Right.
How do we know like what's right or wrong?
Right.
And it was kind of Disney Channel kid, right? You're a Disney Channel kid.
Oh, heck yeah.
Absolutely.
Very much a Disney Channel kid.
Yes. So there's a lot of wacky scenarios in those shows. Like I know for shows like Jessie, they have like a pet lizard.
Oh God. This Kipling, I think.
Yeah.
I think I'm right. Yeah.
Dog with the Block has a talking
Oh
dog.
my gosh. Dog with a Block.
So I
That's
thought the
bad.
show was good,
It was good.
but
and
apparently everyone thought it was really bad. So I'm kind of
I
like,
thought it was bad. I watched every single Disney Channel show growing up. So it was like I didn't care what
what's
it
your
was.
top three? What's your top three?
Wizards of Waverly Place for sure.
Absolutely.
Hannah Montana.
Okay.
Austin and Ally, but Good Luck
Okay.
Charlie was up there too.
Good Luck Charlie.
So
I remember Good Luck Charlie being like one of the more successful ones because it was always on, or it was
Yeah.
like it was like never like done, like
Yeah.
the new season.
Yes.
But no, speaking of Wizards of Waverly Place in the
Oh my
movie,
gosh.
I
Yeah.
remember the quicksand scene.
Oh my gosh.
I thought that would absolutely be something I would have to avoid in life was
Yeah.
quicksand.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good one.
No?
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh man, like how am I gonna get out of quicksand? I
Yeah.
gotta be able to grab a branch or
Right.
not panic because you're gonna sink faster.
Yeah.
Have not seen quicksand once in my life.
Honestly, I would be terrified if I saw quicksand because it makes me think of Indiana Jones 2 when
Yeah.
they were in quicksand as well. That just seems scary.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about Indiana Jones. But no, so I'm like, okay, like I gotta know how to be calm under pressure if I ever
Yeah.
see it. And nope, never happened. I did do some research, and apparently it's actually like a real thing,
Wait,
obviously.
quicksand?
Like quicksand's like a real thing.
Do you know where it's like located at? Or is
It
it
can
just
be like formed anywhere. Like
Oh.
with sand, and then like water, and then it needs to be
Interesting.
like drained. But like that gets the effect of you sinking. It won't be able to be
Yeah.
drained. It's a very complicated process, but it could
Interesting.
happen like pretty much anywhere.
Okay.
I think you can create it yourself, which is kind of scary.
Wait,
but
yeah, that is scary. The
someone
crew
like-
don't listen to this.
Imagine some wacko creating a
Like quicksand.
quicksand right outside, like on a playground. And just- not super deep, but like deep enough to at least get your like up
Like,
to your shins.
Yeah. Poor kiddos.
Yeah. Hopefully you don't like drown a kid. That'd be very dark.
Terrible.
That'd be very dark. But no, I definitely thought that quicksand would be.
That's a good one.
But another one, piranhas.
Piranhas. Oh my gosh. Well, it wasn't piranhas. It wasn't Disney, but do you remember Victorious, that episode?
Oh my god, with the what's the gosh.
It was like some type of fish, and then it was like
Yeah.
like dead
I'm trying to figure the name.
flesh.
They would eat. So yeah. Describe what happened in that episode.
So it was like an episode of where I don't know, it was like Trina, she found some type of like fish or something. And then she was like, oh, like I saw like from a friend that like if you put these on your feet, or like if you submerge your feet in the water that the fish are in, then they're gonna like kiss your feet, and when they kiss your feet, they take off the dead skin, which is like
that's crazy.
gross. But, so why would they do that? But then all of them
Oh my
got
God.
sick because it had some type of like poisoning or something.
Yeah, like obviously there's some theories about Dan Schneider and all those like foot
Oh.
fetish. And that's like my main point of foot fetish. And they're like rubbing each other's feet in the hallways. Weird episode. We won't get into it. We
Dan
won't get into it.
Schneider-
But you
No.
would think, and I think piranhas are on Peter Pan. I don't know why
I think
thought that.
probably it's been a while since I've seen Peter Pan.
Me too.
Don't
But no, I'm
Disney fans
thinking
don't come
like
for me.
piranhas like if I'm ever in an ocean or a lake,
Ooh,
like I gotta
yeah,
catch up
yeah,
with
yeah.
piranhas. No.
Yeah,
Like
That's a good
there are
one.
things that'll attack you in the water, like sharks or whatever.
yeah.
But
Are you
piranhas,
afraid of sharks?
I'm
No.
not afraid of sharks. I'm not afraid of the ocean.
Ooh, that's
But I did meet someone that is afraid of like the deep ocean, which I can completely understand.
because it's like just goes out. I'm not afraid of the ocean,
Mhm.
but I'm afraid of like I don't know. If I think too much about it, I'm like, I am such a small person in the grand scheme of the ocean, especially if you can't see anything on the other side. It's like really beautiful,
Yeah.
but then also it can be just a little scary.
I don't like the thing about the ocean. I don't like is scuba diving.
Mm,
I went.
love scuba diving.
I don't think I don't like it. I just don't like the thought of it because it's not going down like underneath the water. It's
Right.
it's the idea of the pressure. Because during the
Oh,
training,
that's
so we
right.
went on like a family vacation like like a decade ago
Yeah.
or whatever, and we went to like Punta Cana,
Uh-huh.
and like my parents signed us up, like our whole family up for scuba diving lessons.
That's
We're just in
so
a
funny.
pool,
Right.
so it's not that bad of a deal. But like I struggled with it a little bit.
Yeah.
So I was like, and I was like what, like 11, 10 at the
Oh,
time. So
Baby
like
Jackson.
so like anxiety, baby Jackson.
Yeah.
Just like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna die in the ocean. But no, like they were telling lessons of how you gotta like breathe out of your mouth.
Oh,
Like you gotta keep breathing, 'cause then
Yes.
the pressure like
Yes.
destroy your lungs. I'm like, yep, nope,
Yeah, that's
nope,
not for me.
not for me. Not for me.
Along with that, I think people who can like breathe underwater, because there's a certain way you can like do it or not breathe for like a long period of time,
Well,
but
you,
at
like,
least like
you blow bubbles
yeah,
as like
but
you're
like
breathing.
I can't. Like that terrifies me. Or also people who can open their eyes in the water.
Nope, that's not
Like
me.
I used to like be on the swim team for 2 years, and like I remember there would be some times where I just felt like super confident, and I would be in like, let
Nope.
me try to see if I can open my eyes in the water, and then no, because it would just sting your eyes and it would hurt and it would burn, and then I was like, why did I was just too confident.
So yeah, like obviously I'm wearing glasses right now. If
Yeah.
I go to a pool, I wear contacts.
Yeah.
And I don't think you're
Oh
actually
my
I don't think
gosh,
you're
that'd
able
be
to.
terrible.
Because then yeah. So I'm not
Gosh, that'd be
trying.
really bad.
But speaking of water, that transition to my next
Yeah.
one, the Bermuda Triangle. You remember this? The one Disney Channel episode that comes to mind with the Zach and Cody Sweet
my
Life
gosh.
on Deck episode.
Oh my gosh, yes,
when they
yes,
go through
yes.
the Bermuda Triangle and like the twins like switch personalities.
Oh.
So like Cody becomes like Zach,
Uh-huh.
like kind of like a daredevil type thing.
Uh-huh.
And then Zach becomes Cody, like the nerdy one.
Yeah.
So like that's, and I thought, oh my god,
What about that
I gotta watch.
episode?
I gotta be wary if I travel through the Bermuda Triangle because
Yeah.
some funky stuff's gonna happen.
Yeah, I was always terrified of that as a kid.
I wonder, there's definitely more examples of Disney Channel using the Bermuda Triangle. I just
Yeah.
can't think of any right now.
It's one that comes to mind isn't Disney Channel, but I recently watched Percy Jackson's Sea Monsters. And so the Sea
That has to do with-
Monsters is like the Bermuda Triangle.
Yeah. Oh,
And so it was just kind of weird because then they're like, oh, this is all stuff that happened. So it was like it's like an American, I guess, like folk story almost, or is it like real? I don't know.
is it like one of those like folk
yeah,
tales?
kind of like the
tall
Loch
tales?
Ness monster kind of vibes.
Isn't that real?
Yeah, probably.
It's probably real.
Probably. Maybe. He's
No.
probably watching too.
Yeah.
Hey, Loch Ness monster. But no, I remember I saw it and I was just like, it was just like cool because Percy Jackson like put a spin on it though, but in terms of like Greek mythology, and
Oh,
then they're
okay.
like, oh, it's the sea monsters. But
Interesting.
that's the only like
Interesting.
Bermuda Triangle I can think of. But
Yeah.
no, as a
But
kid, I was terrified
You
of
would think
that.
you would think like, oh, I can't sail down there because
Yeah, because you're like, oh,
my family might disappear
yeah,
or I'm gonna disappear.
yeah.
So that's one thing I definitely thought as a kid, like I gotta be wary of. And then the final one I have, and this is just one I found in a Reddit thread, which I thought would be
Oh, I
pretty
love
funny,
it.
was
So fun.
an anvil or a piano falling out of the sky.
The amount of times a piano falling out of the sky, or just like if you're it happened, I can't think of the Disney Channel shows, but it happened on multiple ones when they were like on the window washing like
On that
very-
side?
or yeah, they were like you know how
The window
washers-
cleaners?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know how they have that barrier or
Like the
almost
like the elevator thing?
Yes.
Yeah.
and then it's I can remember, I don't know what show.
Oh, you
but
thought you would be
two and
I
like-
know it happens on like Harley and Jesse.
yeah,
When they're like
Jesse
falling
does.
off falling
Yeah,
off. And I'm like,
and then they were like about to die. I was like, what? I always had a fear. I was like, somehow I'm gonna be in that scenario
Yeah.
and then I'm gonna fall off.
yes,
Like,
no.
yeah.
I don't
Not
think I've
accurate.
actually I do think I've seen one time like a janitor at a hotel was using one of those.
Okay.
So yeah. All right, Monica. As we transition to points, where can the people listening find you on social media if you want to give any of that?
Yeah. You guys can find me. I'm gonna plug my Spotify because I think I make really good playlists. So you can find me on Monica Nieto on Spotify. Nieto is Nieto. But don't be confused because there's also, I found out recently, a like music artist whose name is Monica Nieto too.
Ooh.
So kind of honored, but I'm not her. I don't put out music. So you can find me there. And then on Instagram, you can find me at Monica Nieto _34, which is funny. Story with that is
Yeah.
that one of my favorite numbers is 34. I don't
Mm.
know why I like the numbers 34 and 43. I just think it's very satisfying.
Okay.
So it's
Very
always
interesting.
been Monica Nieto _34. So
Is that your lucky
yeah.
number?
Yeah.
Okay, I would say. Yeah.
34 is the lucky number. And then yeah, I feel like those are the main socials that I use.
Oh,
But yeah.
Very good, very good. All links will be in the description as well.
Oh, and also on my YouTube, I forgot.
Oh boy,
I
don't.
post I
Oh
post
boy.
some YouTube stuff of my Disney college program that I did last spring semester. And then I'm also wanting to post more like lifestyle stuff like TCU, being a student, organization videos, things like that. And that is just Magically Monica on YouTube. So
Very
give
nice.
me a
Very
follow.
nice. Yeah, that's why we started the first segment with Disney Channel.
Yes,
So,
exactly. I'm a big Disney nerd,
yeah.
but not a Disney adult.
Oh,
I want
gosh.
that clear.
We'll keep that for another. If we
Well,
bring you on for another one, we'll talk about
well,
Disney
yeah,
adults
yeah,
and where they went wrong in
yeah.
life.
Yes.
All right. Anyways, so going on from what we thought Disney Channel, or at least kids shows, were telling
Right.
us would be impactful in our life,
Right.
I think it's important to look about what our parents
Yes.
were telling us about in life.
Yeah.
Because they don't know everything.
Yeah.
And I think as a kid, you think
You think
they know the answers to
everything.
everything.
Golly.
So I want to ask you, are there things as a kid that your parents told you that were illegal, that you thought were illegal? Like your parents would be like, don't do that, it's illegal.
Um,
I know
There-
for me was the car and the lights.
oh,
When
yeah,
your
you
parents
did
are
say that.
driving and you drop something in the back,
Yes,
like your
and
phone or your
you turn on
iPod,
the light,
and you turn on those lights,
and they're like,
you
turn off
have
those
two,
lights.
you have
I
2
can't see
seconds.
it.
You have 2 seconds to turn
the
it on,
thing
find
off.
what you need, and then turn it off.
Yep.
Or you're getting yelled at.
Yep. Oh yeah.
And I remember like that being like a big thing.
Yeah.
'Cause then you would get to the point where like I can't turn this on.
Yeah.
I gotta like figure it out on my own.
Yeah, that's a good one. I know. I remember like specific moments too, because we had a minivan growing up, and
We had
so
a big Suburban. Yeah.
yes, and my mom would just be like, "Turn that light off," or like when one of my sisters, my middle sister Minnie, says she loves to read, and
Okay.
so she wanted to sometimes turn on the light, and my mom's like, "No, you can't do that." And she was like really sad about it, but
Yeah.
no, I get you on that one.
It's like
'cause
it's
that
kind of the
was
same vibe as like a light on an airplane.
yeah, because
And I
especially if you're sitting next to people, like you don't want to turn it on because you're like it's kind of weird, like they're gonna
especially
be mad at me.
it's all I think timing wise in the day. Like
Yeah,
you shouldn't turn them on like before I think 10
yeah,
a.m. and you shouldn't turn them on like post 5, I think. There's
yeah,
like some unwritten rule about that.
yeah, yeah.
But
I
I definitely
agree.
was that guy on my last flight, so I'm kind of a
Yeah.
hypocrite. Because I wanted to read. I wanted to read on the plane. I had to
Yeah.
finish my book. So I
So you
turned on the
said,
light and I was sitting next to my mom, luckily, and then some
"Oh,
stranger.
yeah,
So I was like, oh boy. And I could definitely tell the person next to me was a little irritated, which was really funny. Like I would look over to see like what she's doing on her phone. She's like playing like mobile games. And then she would just like look at me and I'm like, uh-oh. I'd be like,
it's so
like
iconic."
we're having a little bit of a conflict here. It's
Yeah,
really funny. But no, so that's like light on in the car was a big thing.
yeah. That okay. Let me think. Gosh, I think. Oh, one that comes to mind was like a big like illegal no-no, but like we all did it. Was like, do you remember in like not middle school, like elementary school, when your teacher or your parents had to sign your
Permission slips?
yes,
Yeah.
permission slips, but most importantly, like your planner to make sure that they knew what homework you had. That's what we had in my
You had to
school.
do that?
Yeah, so our
Was
parents had
did you
to
go
sign
public or private?
a private school.
That's probably why.
And so our parents had to sign off, and I felt like it was illegal, but there would be sometimes I would
You'd
forge
forge.
my mom's
Would it
signature.
be like when you got back from school they'd had to sign it, or like when you completed the assignments they would have to sign
It
it?
was just like every night they had to sign it to make sure that they saw what homework you had
So
and
they
that like you
knew
did
you
it.
had it. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. That makes
And so
kind of good, I
they're
guess.
like most of the time I was pretty good, but sometimes I would just have to sign it. Or like you said, if there was a certain signature or something that we needed for permissions, usually for permission slips, I was a lot better because I was
Yeah.
like, okay, this is like an actual document.
Mhm.
But when it came to the planners, there'd be sometimes that I just was pretty good because both my mom and dad have both very distinct signatures, but
Oh.
after a while, I got pretty good at
I
them.
think there's a certain age as a kid
Yeah.
when you're like, screw this, I need to learn my parents'
Yes.
signature. And I think for my mom, she had a way of doing it, and my
Mhm.
dad had a way of doing it. 2 different ways. Like some like do their full name, some just do like a
Oh,
little
yeah, yeah,
scribble
yeah.
or whatever.
They have like an abbreviated signature, both
Yeah.
my parents do.
Yeah. So I'm like, okay, how can I do this? And then you always there's one parent.
Uh-huh.
I'm not gonna call myself out by doing
Yeah.
it. There's one parent you're like, oh, I can get this down.
Yep.
And there's like, no, obviously I don't think I do that like for permission slips,
Yeah.
like field trips or whatever, because like what's
Yeah.
the point?
Right.
But like stuff like that or like report card,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
trouble.
Oh
Like that's
gosh,
like
report cards as a
you
kid.
got to get those signed.
Yeah,
So
me
you
too.
like you remember like did you get it in the like an orange-ish, like kind of like a case files like folder?
Ours kind of.
Mm.
Ours was more in like I think it got mailed to us, even
Oh
though
really?
yeah,
Oh.
it was kind of weird. But no, ours was like I remember it was like a little like trifold thing.
I remember so we were like giving them out at school and like we had to show our parents
Mm,
because we had to get their signature.
Mm.
So yeah.
nice.
I would say another thing that was illegal as a kid was like the myth about swallowing gum. You know what I
Yes,
mean?
yeah. Oh, that's a good
Because like I feel like
one.
years fluctuated too. It
Yeah.
was like 7 years or 13 years or 10 years or whatever. So so I did a little research on the
Mhm.
side
I'm
to get
curious.
that down to this problem.
Okay,
Because honestly, I did not know to this day probably what the real answer was.
spit the facts.
So
Let's hear
I
it.
actually looked this up, and this is from I think mythorfact.com.
Okay, nice.
So
Very
it
accurate.
says, quote, most people empty their stomachs 30 to 120 minutes after eating. That's
Okay.
pretty interesting. I
Yeah.
didn't think about it like that on the average.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Interesting.
And that includes gum. The
So it
gum.
doesn't.
Let me get to it.
This is tea. This is
The
tea.
gum base is an insoluble, just like a fiber of the base of raw vegetables, corn, popcorn kernels, and seeds, says Dr. McGreal. How do you pronounce that? So you know how sometimes in your number 2,
Mm,
you can see some things that you've eaten.
yeah. And gum is
It's the same way with gum. While
dun dun dun.
our bodies do not possess digestive enzymes to specifically break down gum base.
Mhm.
So you're not going to digest it. So, and it's not going to stick to your walls, like the
Mm.
walls of your like intestine line or your
Yeah.
stomach. So you're just going to see it in your poop,
Yeah. Interesting.
which I wish I knew this as a kid because then
I would just be
thing is,
eating
people
gum all
still
the
swallow
time.
their gum today, and I'm like, oh, I legit
Yeah.
thought like, oh, that's gonna add up.
No, same. Because
Like that's gonna be a problem for you somehow in life. I don't know what like health
When?
effects you're gonna
Yeah.
have, but I'm gonna be healthier than you for some
Yeah.
reason.
No, I agree. Because I always thought like it would just expand, like the gum would expand, and then it would just stick.
Expand like a bubble?
Like
Like a
expand,
bubble?
like you know how not like when you like blow it, but like when you're like it's small, like just like the stick of gum or something, and then you chew it, and then it's all gushy. But I thought like
Yeah.
it would expand
Like
on
roll
your
or go flat.
like go flat and expand.
Okay.
Yeah. Like that on like your intestines or something, and then
Interesting.
it would just stick there and then
Interesting.
like build up.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, gum is a good one
Gum,
because
and I was like, things. I don't think I ever got in trouble for doing it.
yeah,
It's more of just like a
moral
warning.
thing. Yeah,
You're like, I don't know if my parents did this or like teachers or
yeah,
but like I always remember like people be like, don't swallow your gum.
yeah,
And
yeah.
like when you would swallow it, you'd be like, uh-oh.
Yep.
Like
I'm
I'm in
gonna
trouble.
die.
I'm in
Yeah.
trouble. So yeah, that's another one that I have.
That's a good one.
Do you have any more?
Oh, let me think.
I'm trying to think of some too.
I know just as a kid there were so many things that you believed. Of course, I thought almost like it was illegal to like ask questions about like more questions talking about I guess the origins of like Santa Claus, the Tooth Fairy.
Really?
Like, well, not bad, but it was just like almost like an unwritten rule that you couldn't like ask if they were real. You know what I
Interesting.
mean?
I mean, I think I know what you mean, but I don't think I never got ridiculed or
Or like
yelled
I
at
didn't
for
get
asking about it.
well, I didn't get yelled at either, but I just had the assumption in my head that I'm like, I can't ask my parents if they're real or not.
So you just never asked them. You just thought like this would be a bad idea if I asked them.
Yeah, because
That makes sense.
because I don't know. I was like, okay, there's two sides of me. I was like a really good kid, had great parents, like my sisters too, as a lot of people. And so I was really blessed in that way.
Yeah.
But also, I was a very sassy little
You were
stubborn
a smart aleck,
child.
weren't you?
I was very much of a
Yeah,
smart aleck.
yeah.
Yeah. My sisters and my family will definitely laugh at this because it's very accurate.
Very true. Very true. Well,
But
yeah.
yeah.
Gosh, I remember like there's a lot of things that like when I have kids
Uh-huh.
that I'll look at and I'll be like, I'm gonna like that's totally fine for you to do something like
Yeah.
that, like the lights on in the car.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm definitely gonna be like, turn those things
Oh,
off.
you're gonna be
That-
like, my parents did it to me, so I'm gonna do it.
I'd be like, no, that's actually illegal.
Yeah.
But until you can actually know how to look that up to prove me wrong, those lights are going off.
That's a good one.
And there's a lot. And then you were talking about how music being too loud while you're looking.
Oh
at the
yeah.
map.
Yes, because I remember, I don't know, like, well, of course, like it is kind of illegal to be on your phone when you're driving. Like
That's
is
illegal.
actually that's illegal.
That's an actual crime. Yeah, that's
Crime.
a crime.
I don't do it, I promise. But like I just remember it would be funny, like, I don't know, it's always funny, like just even the saying of like parents are always like, you need to turn down the music, or they're like, turn down the music when they're looking at the map so it's like they can see it better. You know what I mean?
So-
like that just logically does not make
I remember
sense.
my mom's the type of person to like be very zoned in on something.
Uh-huh.
So like if there's music, she'll like turn it off.
Uh-huh.
So I can definitely see that being a thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's definitely just a parent thing, and that's for me too. Like when I
Right.
remember, like when I try to park in places and I'm
Mhm.
turning on the radio, I always turn it off because it heightens my focus.
Yeah.
So maybe that's more of like a fact
Yeah.
instead of like a myth, because maybe
That's
that actually
true.
because it's not.
It's connected like eyesight and then
It's like it's
audio.
probably you're probably more focused.
Yeah.
Or if you were to take an exam, would you prefer it with no or blasting music or no music?
No
No
music.
music.
Yeah.
So I
Interesting.
think
Maybe my parents were onto something.
maybe my parents actually knew what they were doing.
Yeah. Kind of crazy.
Kind of
Hmm.
crazy. All right, getting into our final thing,
Okay.
final talking point of today's episode. The reason why I brought you onto the show, first episode of the podcast,
I am
as
so.
I try.
First of all, I'm so honored too
Oh,
to be your first guest.
yes. As I try to bring in various people, in terms of how we're connected
Yeah.
and see how we're connected.
Yes.
I'd say the one thing we're connected besides our faith
Yes.
is our radio show.
Yes.
We do have a radio. Do you want to talk a little bit about
Oh
it?
my gosh, yes. So, Jackson and I have a radio show,
Mhm.
and it's called What's Poppin'. It's so good, so fun, and we
Yeah.
talk about everything dealing with pop culture. And it's on KTCU 88.7 FM, but you can also listen online from Thursdays from 8 to 9.
And I'm pretty sure it's on the TuneIn app.
Yeah.
Not a sponsor.
Yeah.
That every link that we say will be in the description
Yes.
below. And you can also find us. That should be like tagged somewhere on our social media pages.
Yeah.
So you'll find that. But no, so like the radio show is definitely like obviously you're a major Stratcom.
Yeah.
And I'm film, television, digital media.
Yeah.
So it's like definitely that communications base as we're in the
Right.
communications school. And so I was just thinking, since we're kind of talking about childhood,
Yeah.
this sort of episode, I want to talk about like radio's impact.
Oh my
on us.
gosh, yes.
'Cause I remember as a kid, radio not being a huge thing at home,
Mhm.
but definitely in the car.
Oh, yes.
And so then over time, you slowly saw like the transition, or I guess the evolution
Yep.
of music in the car.
Yep.
So it was first like the radio, like you
Yep.
play stuff on the radio, and then there's like the aux cord.
Mm-hmm.
And even I remember in one of my like growing up cars,
Mm-hmm.
like we had a cassette tape that
Oh,
had an aux
nice.
cord going out because we didn't have like that's how like
Yeah.
old technology were in the cars at
Right.
that time.
Right.
You'd have to put a cassette tape that like acted as an aux player, which is actually a pretty cool invention. If
Yeah.
you think about it.
Yeah.
Like that's the only way. And you would rarely use that. You only use that
Right.
in that one car. So if you take a
Exactly.
bigger car, you would never take it. You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Yeah.
So
Dang. Oh my gosh. Radiohead, honestly, I feel like a pretty big impact on me because going along with like being a Disney kid, Radio Disney, me and my sisters would listen to that religiously. Like it was bad. It was always on in the car. And now it's really sad because like Radio Disney doesn't exist anymore. Like they got rid of it maybe like a year or two ago because it's like no one listens to the radio
it's not a
anymore.
moneymaker anymore.
Yeah.
Which is
but
kind of sad.
yeah.
I definitely think you could get some money. I mean, it's probably just a loss though for them.
Yeah.
Think about it, but like they can definitely get some money by playing Disney radio.
Yeah.
At the same point, from the aux cord,
Yeah.
you get to transition to CarPlay
Yep.
and
Yep.
Android Play or whatever's on
Mhm.
Android, and you get that, and then you just play your own music.
Yeah.
It's like I try like in the car I drive right now, it
Mhm.
only has radio, which I kind of like.
Really? Ooh. Okay.
So I can't at least I can't figure out how to figure
Yeah.
out aux because there's not like a functional like aux cord
Okay.
in the simpler ways.
Yeah.
The car's from like 2007.
Okay.
That's how old the car is.
Mine is so my car is wait, what type of car is yours?
Nissan 350Z. It's a
Okay,
convertible.
because I have a 2009 and Toyota Camry.
Yeah.
And so what I do is I have Bluetooth like audio,
Okay.
but what it is like it's this thing on like Spotify. I'm not Spotify, Amazon, not sponsored. I don't know what the name of
Like
it.
the
It's like a
dongle?
CarPlay, but it's like you know the what is it called? The charger that you have in the car, like for USB. It's like round.
Oh no, the cigarette lighter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you put a cigarette lighter in there, but it's also like a Bluetooth thing.
So yeah.
And yeah, so I do that, and then it connects with a certain station that is only like static, and then like
Interesting.
I'm able to connect my phone with that, and then so all
Very
of my like music that I play
Mhm.
on the car comes off of like a station. I think
Yeah.
mine's is like 95.5 or something,
Interesting.
but it only works if like my phone is like plugged in. But it's like cool and
That's
like
actually
It's
like the
really
technology
nice.
going from the cassette
Yeah.
to the cigarette like Bluetooth.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
And now all you got is the plug and play with
Yeah.
your phone, and
Yeah.
then you can look. I love CarPlay though. Like I'm
Yeah.
not gonna be a hater. I love
It's kinda
CarPlay.
fire. But, like,
Just because you get
it's
GPS on there.
Oh, yeah.
I'm definitely not street smart, so I need my GPS.
Oh.
For the simple things.
No, me too. If I go somewhere at least, like, 20 times still,
Oh
I'm
yeah,
like,
yeah.
"Wait, is it a left at the 3rd light, or is it a right?" Like, I don't trust
Yeah,
myself
yeah.
with
So it's just
directions.
kind of. I wish radio. I don't know. Like I think radio is just gonna stay the way it is.
Yeah,
But like I think it'll get less and less.
Mhm.
But I don't think it'll ever be and I think the only reason, or I guess the only, what's the word I'm looking for, relevance of radio
Radio.
is sports,
Yeah.
and that goes with TV too.
Yeah.
Like the only reason you're listening to radio, like
We have
maybe
another point of
actually,
views, but
like besides like the small minority of people listening to like their favorite radio station or favorite radio shows,
yeah,
is for sports.
that's
Like if you're like,
true.
I remember this is just one memory that pops in my mind. It was like 2015. My dad and I go to a grocery store during like the NFL playoffs, and we're at the grocery store, and then we hop in the car, immediately turn on the radio to the NFL playoff games,
Mm,
just so we can keep up. So when we get home, we turn on the TV and watch the games.
yeah,
Which is
interesting. Going along with that, I know for, I guess, my family, my aunt, she's been, like, really into, like, winning, like, things on the radio.
Oh yeah,
Like, Jackson, she wins something at least, like, once a month. I'm not even
really.
joking, and she's been doing that for, like, 3 or 4 years.
The thing
Like,
is,
it's insane.
that's
No,
like
maybe even longer than that.
she's a beast for that.
Yeah.
But I think it's like due
It's
to the low audience.
Yeah,
But like,
and
go get your free thing. Go get your bag.
I was like, if you want free tickets to like concerts or to like, I don't know, fun things to do in like wherever you're from, like
Mhm.
listen to the radio because not a lot of people like win stuff anymore.
Mhm.
And so they're just giving away stuff. And that's how I won something on Radio Disney.
Oh
I
yeah.
like, I
I
I won Secret of the Wings, which was like a Tinkerbell movie,
Oh
and it was
gosh.
signed by Debbie Ryan.
That's actually pretty cool. Do you still have it?
Yeah, I still have
Do you
that
have it on
home.
display?
I don't have it
You should
on.
have-
It's just like
Don't tell me it's in
in
storage or
no, it's not. It is in our movie bookcase that we have.
Okay,
But
okay,
like
it's fine.
no.
You should definitely have it on display at like,
Yeah.
one time. Like once you get your own place, you
Oh,
definitely have it
I'm
on your
just
mantle
really like
above your fire.
just like
Debbie
very
Ryan.
Debbie Ryan signature. It's just a staple in my life now. But
Yes, like today I legit did a radio giveaway.
you
And no
did?
one called in. No one
It's
called
so
in.
sad.
And they
It's
were like
really
tickets to Toto's tour. Like the Africa band.
And no one
And
called
no one
in.
called in. And I repeated it, the phone number and everything, and no one called in. That's a shame.
So sad. See, guys, don't let that be you. Get those tickets.
Yeah. So I would say, and now maybe I could be a hypocrite because when
Mhm.
I'm driving, like I like to put my music on in the car.
Yeah, same.
But I think everyone should strive to at least listen to the radio on a
Yeah.
short drive.
And I mean, a great time to listen to the radio is when our show's on. I think we're pretty cool, and it's a really good show,
Pretty
actually.
cool, pretty
So
cool. So make sure to subscribe to All Jacked Up and wherever you get your podcasts so you'll be notified when a new episode is released. Monica, I want to thank you for coming onto the podcast.
thanks for having me. I had so much fun.
Absolutely, absolutely. Make sure to follow me all on Twitter at alljackedup_ for updates, and visit the brand new that will be launched the day that this episode is released,
Oh, yeah.
www.allthingsjackedup.com. Make sure it's on Google.
Yes.
To catch up on all things and other episodes of our podcast here on All Jacked Up. We'll see you guys later.